What we're going to be learning today is how to make a chaplet. A chaplet is a shorter form of the rosary. You still say all the same prayers, but instead of having 5 different decades, you have one decade that you'll use 5 times. Today what we're going to be learning is how to make a barrel knot, how to join the ends of the rosary, and also how to make the cross. In your kit you're going to find that you have 2 different pieces of string. You have one that's 70 inches and you have one that's 24 inches. We're going to start with the long one, the 70-inch one. The first thing we're going to do is make our first barrel knot at about 8 inches in. I'm going to show you how to do that. To make your barrel knots easier, we're going to use a plastic clothespin. This opening at the alligator end is what we're going to use to slide that string through the barrel. So I'm going to take the piece that I have. Any work that I've done I'm going to put down and to the left, even if it's just the tail, that 8-inch tail, down and to the left. I'm going to clamp it with my thumb, and then I'm going to take it and make an X. Do you see the X there? Then I'm going to wrap 2 more times closer to this thumb. 1, 2. So I have a total of 3 wraps. I'm going to clamp that with my thumb, and I'm going to take the tail and put it from the small part of the alligator's mouth to the big part of the alligator's mouth. Okay, and just slide that right through. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to slip out the clothespin, and I'm going to gently move this over to where I want it to be as I'm tightening it. Okay, and then to really get it tight, you have to slide it back and forth, pulling pretty hard. Okay, our goal for the Hail Marys is to have them about a 1/4 inch apart. Alright, let me show you one more. So all the work I've done is down and to the left, clamp that with my thumb, make the X, then 2 more times around closer to this thumb. Okay, clamp it, take the tail, put it from the small part of the alligator mouth to the big. Okay, pull that through, slide it off carefully, and before I start to tighten it, move it over a bit to where I want it to be. And sometimes they're going to jump, just make sure you keep them coiled. Okay, tightening it by pulling it side to side. Okay, so we're going to begin by making a decade. 10 of it. Okay, so we've completed our decade, and now what we're going to need to do is join the ends of the rosary. So we're going to be making this knot. Okay, to make that knot, I'm going to take the ends of the rosary, hold them in my hand, and I'm going to do the same thing, the same kind of a knot, only using the strings together. I'm going to make the X, and I'm only going to go around once more, so that's a total of 2 wraps, because there are so many layers in this. So I'm going to take both ends, make sure they get through. Okay. And I'm going to make sure I do a nice tight knot. Now I want to make sure I keep these guys even if I can. And you do want to have a little bit of room here so that you're feeling it. When you're feeling it with your hand, you can tell something's different. Okay, and I'm going to give each of these little strings a tug to make sure that's a nice tight knot. Okay, so now I have 2 tails, and I'm only going to work with the long ones. I'm just going to let this little guy go off on the side. And the next piece that we're going to do is we're going to come over and we're going to do the 3 Hail Marys and the Our Father. The Our Father is just a little bit apart from where the Hail Marys are. Okay, Our Fathers have 4 wraps instead of 3. Okay, so we've got our 3 Hail Marys and our Father, and we also want to put a little space up here. So anytime you've got a group of Hail Marys, you want to have a little space between that and whatever's next, just so you can feel the difference. Okay, so now we're ready to begin our cross. So a cross is really a series of barrel knots, of the quad knots. So first we're going to do a quad, and I'm going to show you how to tie that. So work again down to the left, make that X, and then we're going to wrap 3 more times. So quad, you've got 4 wraps, see that? Clamp it, put that tail through. Okay, tighten it down. You don't have to make your cross too far from your Our Father because they're very different, so they'll be easy to feel. Alright, now the next thing we're going to need is that other piece we had, that 24-inch piece. We're going to slide it under, and we're going to make sure it's about even. Okay, now here's the tricky thing. We're going to make the letter S. Take the top piece, bring it over to the right for the top part of the S. Take the piece over here, bring it down to the bottom of the S. See the S there? Okay, so we've got our S. Now we're going to make the letter C, a script C. So we're going to bring this up. It goes underneath here. Okay, and since it's a script C, we're going to have that fancy top. Bring that over, tuck it under here. See that C? Okay, now I'm going to gently tighten all these pieces down. Now I know I've got this correct when I see that figure 8. See the figure 8? Okay, next thing I want to do is check the arms or the tails of the string, make sure they're pretty close in length. If they are, then I'm going to slide this up and I'm going to try to tighten it a bit. It won't tighten very much because there's nothing holding it yet. Okay, so now I'm going to make 2 more quads, really pushed up against each other. Wrapping 4 times, putting that tail through. And I want to really tighten it down nicely. I don't want any funny rollovers in this piece. If I mess up on this, I do it this one again. Okay, so I'm going to press this down too, and that will help to get out some of that loose area. Okay, so that's 1 quad. I didn't get that right. E4. Okay. Tighten that down gently, and then really firm it up. Remember to squish this a little to get that extra space out. Okay. We have our 2 quads for the base of the cross. Now we're going to do a quad on each of the arms. Sometimes you're going to find that this piece feels pretty short to get around, so you may need to wrap it on something smaller like your finger. You want to roll that down very gently. Okay, giving it that squish so you can get it nice and strong and tight. Okay, there's 1. Let's get that other side. Tuck that in there. Gently roll it down. Again, if I make this knot and it doesn't roll down right, one of the pieces gets out of order, I usually just untie it and try again, because the cross is a very special part of this and we want it to look really nice. Okay. Okay, so I have the completed chaplet. Stretch them out a little bit, straighten them up. Now the next thing that I would need to do is to remove these strings, and the way you need to do this is with a lighter or a candle. You'd want to burn it about here or here and then kind of bring it in. You want to be careful, 1, not to burn yourself, and 2, not to get too close to the work because you don't want to damage the knots. And if you look up here, this one you have to be especially careful with because you don't want to damage this cord. Alright, so when we're done, we end up with a really lovely finished chaplet.